All right, David Taylor. Into day 2, 3 in the finals, 3 other All-Americans. Your thoughts on your team's performance today?
It was a good day. You know, it's a tough tournament. It really is a tough tournament. Just from yesterday into today, I mean, you have these highs and you have these lows. You know, and it's but you know, I think as a whole, you know, obviously, I think Cowboy Wrestling has had a good tournament.
Yeah. My mind goes to 174, the job Dean Hammond did, getting that early takedown, holding off Levi Haynes. Is that how you thought the match would need to go for Dean to win? Is that what you thought it would probably look like?
I think DJ can win in a lot of different ways. I think although that was the only score, obviously there were more exchanges after that by both guys. You know, both guys had some really good defense and some really good attacks. So, you know, you get a chance to execute takedown on guys Levi's caliber. You know, you got to be able to execute. He's able to execute, and was able to, you know, stay disciplined the rest of the match.
In many ways, it was similar to the O'Toole match from a couple weeks ago. Did you see him applying some of the advice and the coaching you were giving him and have it translate into that match?
I think so. I mean, I think just with, you know, they're both so similar. They're both so good when they get their hands locked and finish, you know, and I think that going back to the Big 12 match with DJ, you know, he scored and then he had a couple of times, but then he kind of re-engaged in a situation where he could have just stayed baseline. And that's just been a focus for him. He's done a good job. And, you know, and when you can practice something, but to do it on the biggest stage, you know, obviously that's him. He did that, you know, so, and just wrestled a good match.
To see Wyatt, you know, 3 pins, and then to really dominate the returning national champion, Kurt Fleet, someone you know well, did that surprise you at all to see that level of separation between Wyatt? Because it wasn't that long ago that Greg beat him pretty soundly.
I mean, I think just Wyatt is pretty unique in what he can do. I mean, just his strength, his power, speed. I think this year just added another layer of discipline to his wrestling. You know, obviously he's known as this prolific pinner, and he can pin guys from everywhere, and that's been what he's been. But this year, I think we were able to help him rein in some of his discipline. That was the most disciplined match I've seen him wrestle. You know, did a really good job. We know he's really good on the mat. Guys escape, was able to ride hard, and, you know, execute a couple takedowns. You know, so that's, you know, and that's what it takes.
And Spratley, extremely tight match with Ventresca. They had he majored him at the dual meet. Did you anticipate that this rematch was going to be tighter?
I think so. I mean, I think when you get to this tournament, you know, it kind of goes 2 ways. You can take a match and you can, like, really blow it open. You know, you get the you know, or typically they kind of get a little tighter, you know. But Ventresca is like a specialist at wrestling those kind of matches, you know. So yes. I think Troy's done a great job of opening matches up in this tournament. Although some of the scores have still been closer, you know, I think with Ventresca, he did a good job. Ventresca did such a good job of just slowing it down, you know. And Troy had to fight off a couple really deep leg attacks. I was a little uncomfortable. You know, I was over here in the thing and just watching on the side, but he just stayed poised, you know, and I think that's...
Oh, hey!
We coming back 3 in the finals, coach. Hey, we back. Hey, let me tell you something. This man right here, he bringing us back. We gonna get a title. We gonna get him. Where the team at, coach? They left already?
Yeah, they went back.
Good job, man.
Yeah,
hey,
thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
That was a great night.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Boy, Hendrickson looked good, didn't he?
He did.
He rolled his ass, grabbed his wrist. Boy, good job. Hamity looked good.
Appreciate it.
Good job.
Thank you.
Cody Merrill, you got get him there. Yeah. Right? Why? Because I like you. She mad because I like you so much. She's like, this dude loves David too. Good job, David.
I just think Troy's shown a lot of poise in this tournament. And that's what it took there, you know. And then the double overtime match.
Crazy.
I mean, guy gets to escape in 1 second. Troy knows you got to go. You know, we talk about just like executing takedowns and getting quick to the finishes, and just like it's a good example of you doing what you drill. His instincts just brain turned off, instincts kicked in, takedown. You know, it's just that was a good one.
Yeah, it felt like, you know, the second Ventresca did a great job getting away in like 3 seconds. he just never quite got his bearings. Did you feel like Troy just kind of sensed he never really got his feet underneath him in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I just think literally just instincts. Like, you just know, like, this is my chance. You know, it really is. I think if it goes to the next 30 seconds, now the guy can run around. You know, it's much harder.
Yes.
You know, and get the takedown, got the riding time, you know, on his favor. It just really happy for Troy. Like, dude is, it's just cool.
Yeah. Thoughts on just the blood rounds, the good and the bad there for you guys?
Yeah, shoot, man. I've never wrestled in a blood round before. I've watched it, obviously, in my with the teams that I've been on, and I know the emotion, but like being on the floor, the emotion of it, it's just good to now have a better understanding of that. You know, understanding that it's much better for guys to not be there because it's a tough round to win in. It's easier to stay on the front side of the bracket. You know, it just gets crazy back there. But you know, Cam and Fish both won really tough matches there. Tegan didn't, but you know, Tegan did some really good stuff in this tournament. So this tournament's a tough tournament, you know.
Teague looked like he was pretty roughed up by the end of things. But first of all, how do you do coming out of that, and then just how impressive was it to see him?
Yeah, I mean, Teague's a tough son of a gun. You know, we had to make, you know, two lineup decisions this year. You know, one was when Teague was hurt, Caleb went down to 157. You know, and just discipline that took. Then at the end, obviously, Teague getting the discipline going 57 down to 49. And then wrestling, you know, and I think the hunger and the way he competed here, that's what, you know, we had hoped we hoped that we would see, you know, and I think it's exactly. I mean, dude's a freaking warrior. I mean, his eye was black the very first day. I went to dap him up, and he's like missing me. I'm like, are you messing with me? He's like, no, I just can't see. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like trying to get on the other side of his eye, but you know, he's battling. You know, his knees are all banged up, and he had the momentum going in that match. He just got the takedown, and then he hurt his other knee, and in a weird kind of situation, and just, you know, wasn't able to you know, just finish the way he was wrestling, you know. And it's just, but I mean, just chipped his tooth. I mean,
oh my God.
I just think there's I mean, just give him a hug, you know. We told him how proud we are of him, and just thanked him. You know, that's the thing about how do you want Oklahoma State wrestling to be represented. I mean, that's the kind of wrestling that, you know, that we want to take a lot of pride in.
Go into the mental preparation for Wyatt.
I mean, I think with Wyatt, it was just like, hey, just, you know, let's be patient, you know, and, you know, when you feel like it's time to go get takedown, go get shakedown, you know, and just he's really good on top, and committed there, very committed on top. So, it was good for him.
You mentioned Fish earlier. Spoken a lot throughout the year just about how much you admired him, you know, burning the red shirt.
Yeah.
Just how cool is that to see him go from that point, make the move for the team, and then earn his first All-American finish his last year?
Yeah, I think when you look back, I don't know, down the road, you know, Fish will be one of those guys that will always have a place in our heart because he's just the best kid. You know, he's just caring, loving, freaking works super hard. You know, he's one of those guys that's gonna do whatever you ask him to do. You don't have to ask him twice. Just a lot of discipline in a short period of time. I mean, he got here this summer. We felt like the plan was to redshirt him. We felt like in a redshirt development, he'd be better next year. You know, we got put in a bind, and it kind of gave him the choice. And he's like, "No, I want to wrestle short notice in Vegas." You know, and ever since then, it just also reset his expectations. You know, he's never been the guy that was wrestling in these type of environments. You know, he wasn't the guy that was doing that before, and just constantly evaluating adverse performances, and just it was awesome.
All good, guys?
Congrats, Coach. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.